Greetings and salutations, Series 7 test takers. This is Series 7 Guru coming to you from my studio here in fabulous Las Vegas with another explication request. This is a bad miss. You can't be giving up math questions. Statistically, the best test takers are people who love math and hate math. I'm in the hate math category. I find it incredibly boring that 2 plus 2 is always 4. Math people love that. You know, I like things like what is beauty? We have a couple pictures of beer. We get closer to what it isn't. That drives the math people kind of nuts. Even if you don't like math, you've got to embrace math on your test because there's no interpretation of a right answer. The 3 types of questions you get on your exam are practical recognition. For example, there is some recognition involved in this question. We have to recognize that bonds pay semi-annually, right? Because that's going to be important in answering the question. It's a treasury note. That doesn't matter. We got to know the nominal yield is 6.25. So that's all recognition. That alone could have been questions. Practical application is what this question is. And you can't be giving up practical application questions. The 3 types of questions are recognition, practical application. You want to save your misses for the 3rd type of question you get, which are judgment questions. And this certainly isn't that. So okay, so let's solve this question here. First thing we're going to do is figure out how much the bonds pay by taking par, which is $1,000, and we're going to times it by 6.25% to figure out what we're going to receive. I'll put it in green. So I'm going to take my calculator. I'm going to take 1,000. By the way, I told you I'm math challenged. So if somebody offers me a calculator, I'm going to say thank you very much. So 1,000 times 6.25 is 6.25% is 6,250. Let's put that there. And then remember, that's going to be per bond, and that's going to be paid semi-annually. I mean, with math, there's lots of ways to go. I had a guy who said, Dean, I'm great at math. I don't need any help on math. It was a tutoring guy. And, I'm not thinking it was hubris. I mean, that's really kind of who he is. As long as you get there, right? So anyways, I told you I kind of try and make it as simple as possible. So now I need to know that's going to be paid to me in 2 semi-annual installments. So I'm going to take the 6,250. I always like to do it per, and then remember that there's 5 bonds here. So 6,250, I'm going to divide by 2 because that, remember, is paying me semi-annually. And so now I get 6,250. I divide by 2 and I get 3,125. And so 3,125 is what I'm going to get on the semi-annual interest payment date. Oop. And let's just put that in red, and we'll put that in a smaller font. That's too small, somewhere in between there. There we go. And so now I've got what I'm going to get in semi-annual interest per bond. And then I just have to multiply by how many bonds I have, right? So in the question, it says I have 5 bonds. So if I'm receiving 3,125 semi-annually, and I have 5 bonds, the answer to the question would be times 5 bonds, 156.25 is the answer to the question about what I will get on the next interest payment date. So let's just put that in there as our answer. P.S. I think this is, I said, kind of a bad miss because it's practical application and it's definitely something you should know. Now, I would point out the 98 and 24/30 seconds had nothing to do with answering this question. So, what, again, they're testing on is, do you realize that this, let me get my thing, has nothing to do with answering the question, right? That's not meaningful to answering this question. So maybe you tried to do current yield. I don't know what the test taker was struggling with here, but there's our answer. So remember, inch by inch, your Series 7 is a cinch. Yard by yard, your Series 7 is hard. I think I'm caught up on explication requests. If you have an explication request and I haven't fulfilled it, that means it's fallen through the cracks somewhere. So just feel free to put it back into the queue and I'll be more than happy to take care of it for you. And I'll see you for the next explication request.